All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle a huge question, one of the oldest and most painful questions humanity has ever asked, and we're going to look at a really radical answer. You know the one. It's a question that probably haunts every single one of us at some point. You look around at the world, you see war, disease, all this pain, and you just can't help but ask, right? If the architect was perfect, why is the design so broken? And the usual answers we get? Well, they tend to fall into one of two camps. Either it's our fault, human sin, free will, all that, or it's just part of some big, mysterious, divine plan that's way over our heads. But what if that's a false choice? What if neither of those answers gets to the heart of it? There was this ancient, kind of secret tradition that came up with a really shocking alternative. What if the problem isn't with us or the plan, but with the creator itself? What if the being that made our world isn't the real, ultimate God? Okay, so let's get into it. To really wrap our heads around this idea, we've got to start by looking way beyond our own universe, to this place of absolute perfection, a realm they called the Fullness. So picture this. At the very, very top of everything, there's no king sitting on a throne, no old man with the beard. What there is the true God. And it's not a person, not a thing. It's this silent, perfect, unknowable consciousness. It's not a he or a she. It doesn't even have a name, because think about it. A name is a limit, right? And this consciousness is completely limitless. And this is a really key point. This ultimate reality doesn't build stuff like a carpenter. It doesn't have a blueprint and some tools. Instead, everything just emanates from it. Kind of like how light and heat just naturally pour out of a star. It's an effortless, natural unfolding of being. So how does that actually work? How does this unfolding happen? Well, from this true God, the very first thing to emerge is a reflection, a thought, if you will. That's called barbello. Then from barbello, you get autogenes, which is like the self-generated mind of the cosmos. And from them, you get the eons, these pure, perfect ideas, like mind and truth and life. It's like this beautiful, cascading waterfall of pure consciousness. So all of these perfect emanations, they exist together in a realm called the Pleroma. And that name is perfect because it literally means the fullness. This is a reality of total harmony. No lack, no fighting, no decay, and absolutely, positively, no death. Okay, so if that perfect, seamless reality is out there, the big question is, how on earth did we end up here, in this world, with all its problems? Well, the story goes that it all started with a mistake. So one of these aeons, a being of pure consciousness named Sophia, which means wisdom, she had this intense desire to understand and create something for herself. But here's the catch. She did it alone, without her cosmic partner, and in doing so, she broke the perfect harmony of the Pleroma. And this is really important to understand. Her action wasn't seen as a sin, like a rebellion against God. It was something they called an epistemological error, which is a fancy way of saying it was a mistake in knowing, a misjudgment, a misstep that just shattered the cosmic balance. And the results of this imbalanced act of creation, a new being was born, Yaldabaoth. You might also know him as the Demiurge. Now, because he was born out of this error, in shadow and isolation, he was totally ignorant of the Pleroma that existed above him. So he looked around, saw nothing else, and arrogantly declared, "I am God, and there is no other." And this is where the contrast becomes so stark, it's absolutely crucial. The true God is all about fullness and perfection. The Demiurge, ignorance. The true God is transcendent wisdom. The Demiurge is just full of arrogance and limitations. He can't emanate perfection, so what does he do? He builds something. He creates a flawed material copy of what he vaguely remembers. And that copy is our universe. So this leads to a pretty mind-blowing and shocking conclusion, doesn't it? From this point of view, our physical world, the universe, it isn't some divine gift to be cherished. It's a prison, a cage, a flawed copy of reality built by a blind, lesser God. Okay, wow, so if our universe is a prison, what does that make us? Who are we in this cosmic drama? This is where the story gets really, really personal. So the story continues. The Demiurge and his underlings, the Archons, they decide to create a creature in their own image. They build a physical body, the human form, but that's all it was. An empty vessel,
a lifeless puppet with no real consciousness, no spirit.
But then, to bring this empty shell to life, a kind of trick was played on the Demiurge. A spark of divine light, an actual fragment of Sophia's own essence from the perfect Pleroma, was breathed into this human form. And just like that, a tiny piece of perfection was trapped inside an imperfect world. Just stop and think about what that means for a second. The core problem of humanity, in this view, isn't that we're sinners who broke some rules. No, it's that we are strangers in a strange land. We're exiles from our true home, carrying this tiny, flickering memory of a perfection we can't quite name. And this idea just completely flips the story of the Garden of Eden on its head. Suddenly, the serpent isn't some evil tempter. He's a messenger of truth, sent from the Pleroma. The tree of knowledge isn't forbidden. It's the whole point. And eating the fruit, that's not the fall into sin. It's the awakening. It's the very first moment that humanity remembered where it really came from. So, if we're all these trapped sparks of divinity, how do we get out? How do we escape the prison? Well, the path to freedom isn't about faith or praying to the prison warden. It's about knowledge. And that specific path is called Gnosis. Now, Gnosis isn't about learning facts from a book. The Greek word refers to a very different kind of knowledge. It's a direct, intuitive, deep inner knowing. It's the profound act of remembering who you truly are, where you came from, and why you're here. This process of awakening, it happens in a few stages. It usually starts with something called the call. You know that feeling? That deep sense of unease? That nagging feeling that something is just not right with the world? That's the call. Then comes the teaching, where the truth about the prison and your divine spark is revealed to you. And finally, the salvation, which is when that process of remembrance is complete and the consciousness can finally break free. So, in the end, salvation isn't some reward you get for being good. It's not something handed down from a judge in the sky. It's simply the natural outcome of consciousness waking up to itself and returning to its source. It's an inside job, through and through. And this whole idea leaves us with a final, really provocative question. You know that feeling so many of us have, that deep, persistent sense that we just don't belong here? That we don't quite fit in this world? Well, what if that's not a psychological problem? What if it's not a feeling at all? What if it's a memory? The faint echo of your true home, calling you to remember.